completely wrong. They think the AI itself is the product, but actually, it's simply the accelerator. Tasks that literally used to take an entire team weeks to complete, they can now be done by a single person in a matter of hours. AI is just the vehicle you're driving. The destination is always solving a pain point for a client.
Moving on to Section 1, Real Success Stories, No Coding Required.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is exactly how a second-year student and an unemployed fresher built stable incomes without knowing a single line of code. You might be thinking this stuff is only for tech geniuses, right? But technical expertise simply isn't the barrier here. The source material highlights two incredibly relatable case studies. Take Namita. She's a second-year college student who noticed that creators, specifically finance YouTubers, are constantly needing content scripts, so she used ChatGPT and Claude to draft them. But her secret sauce? She didn't just hand over raw robotic AI output. No, she refined it, added a human touch, and built an income of 20 to 30,000 rupees a month. Then compare that to Pranav, an unemployed fresher. He noticed local businesses desperately needed an Instagram presence, but had zero time to manage it. Using super accessible tools like Canva and CapCut, he started charging 5 to 15,000 rupees per client. They didn't invent anything. They just connected a tool to a market need. So let's break down Pranav's exact client acquisition strategy, because it reveals how remarkably straightforward this actually is. First step, he made a list of 10 local businesses in his city. We're talking dentists, gyms, restaurants. But instead of just firing off an email begging for a job, he proactively created 3 free, customized sample posts for each specific business. And most vitally, he pitched the solution, not the AI. He went to these business owners and essentially said, hey, you focus on running your business, I'll handle your monthly Instagram branding. He never tried to sell his prompt engineering skills. He sold the final result. 30,000 rupees. Let that sink in. That is the realistic, stable monthly income Namita built. And the crazy thing is, just a year prior to this, she felt completely unqualified and thought earning online simply wasn't for her. But by identifying that specific niche in finance YouTubers, creating a few sample scripts, and reaching out via DMs and platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, she went from zero to a highly reliable side income. This proves, without a doubt, the financial viability of this path. Once you take raw AI output and customize it into something genuinely valuable for a client, you're in business.
Which brings us to a really natural question, and honestly one you might be asking yourself right now. If the formula is this simple, why is everyone still stuck? If the tools are practically free and the strategies are basically just connecting the dots, why are so many people sitting on the sidelines? Well, let's pivot and look at the massive roadblock that is actively preventing people from getting these same results.
The source material makes a brilliant observation here. The problem isn't a lack of information. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. The internet is completely flooded with abundant tutorials and endless tool updates. I mean, every single day there's a new video screaming at you to learn the new tool or try a new prompt. It creates massive information overload, which just leads to total paralysis. What people are actually starving for is direction. They need structured steps, real guidance on client acquisition, and a clear path from point A to point B.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point. Consider the number 500. On May 31st, a platform mentioned in the source called The Skilled Brains held a free workshop on AI and earning. They originally expected just a handful of people to show up. Instead, over 500 students and young professionals flooded into the session. After just a brief presentation, the creators' inboxes were entirely jammed. But interestingly, the attendees weren't asking for more tool tutorials. They were asking things like, where do I actually start? How do I get my first client? And who do I talk to when I get stuck?
So, that brings us to a structured roadmap, the Skilled Brains Solutions. Recognizing this massive gap between having information and having actual direction, the source material details some specific educational solutions built to combat this exact paralysis. To provide that structured pathway, the Skilled Brains put together a dedicated AI earning course priced at just 999 rupees. And the curriculum, it doesn't just teach tools, it focuses heavily on monetizable skills. We're talking professional AI research and writing, building faceless YouTube channels from scratch, creating AI thumbnails and visuals, and, absolutely crucial, client acquisition strategies. It's perfectly designed for beginners, students, or literally anyone wanting a side income without needing prior experience. Oh, and the source also notes that you can use the discount code AI10 for 10% off. Now, if writing and research aren't really your thing, the source material also outlines a secondary path for those who want to specialize purely in video editing. Think about today's content landscape for a second. Masterful editing is often the literal difference between a viral sensation and a total flop.
For this path, they offer a live video editing cohort featuring real-time classes and live projects, which is actually launching its second batch right now. And for those of us who prefer to learn in our own time, there's also a self-paced recorded video editing course available.
And we've got some great social proof here too. The source material shares real feedback from students who have gone through these exact editing cohorts. For instance, a student named Krishna stated that every single session pushed him, challenged him, and leveled up his creativity. The material includes similar glowing feedback from others, like Palak, who noted the immense value of the content, and Kushi, who pointed out that the biggest game changer was finally understanding how editing truly works on a fundamental level, rather than just blindly throwing effects onto a timeline.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the broader picture of the future. Right now, AI still kind of feels like a novelty to a lot of people, almost like a cool magic trick. But in the near future, it's going to fully integrate into our daily tasks. Projecting out just 5 years from now, AI will no longer be considered a special skill. It will be an absolute baseline expectation. Knowing how to use AI is going to be as normal and as fundamentally required as knowing how to send an email or browse the internet is today.
Which brings us to the ultimate question you have to ask yourself right now. When AI inevitably becomes the new normal, when the dust settles and the novelty wears off, will you be a spectator who just watched it all happen? Or will you be a builder who used these tools to create something and earn from it? The technology is already in your hands, the exact same as everyone else's. The only difference going forward is what you choose to build with it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Now it's complete.